cell phone video captured New Orleans police struggling to break up a fight between two women. It happened near Bienville and North Peters Saturday afternoon in a part of town packed with visitors enjoying French Quarter Fest. In the middle of the video, you see newly promoted 8th District Commander Octavio Baldessaro, the officer in the white shirt.
You see this every day, but you never expected that it would happen here.
New Orleans chef Kendall Trepanier watched the video on his phone.
We just want a police department that we can trust. And this here makes it hard. This situation makes it hard. And I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed in NOPD.
The video shows Baldessaro approach one woman from behind and slam her to the street. Eventually, he pins the woman to the ground and other officers arrive and handcuff her. A second woman is also handcuffed. Artist Leslie Reynolds called the commander's actions blatant police brutality.
I think he's setting the tone. That was pretty clear to me, that he's going to make that behavior okay for his district.
The NOPD's force investigative team is now looking into whether Baldessaro's actions and the actions of other officers on the scene were in keeping with departmental policies. Tanya McClary from the city's Office of Independent Police Monitor is following the investigation.
So I think the concern is that here is someone who is a high official in the police department and seems to be doing something that is not becoming of the department.
But McClary cautions against a rush to judgment.
Let them do their work and see where this investigation leads.
Baldessaro was picked to lead the police district that includes the French Quarter just last month. Paul Murphy, Eyewitness News.